Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list, and I thought I had a recommendation to do this, and you know what? Let's do it. This is my top 10 personal favorite Studio Ghibli movies. Yes, I love Studio Ghibli movies. There's so many good ones. I know a lot of them are also co-owned by Walt Disney. Doesn't matter. They're still great movies, and I know I did a top 10 anime movies list a few months ago, and honestly, yeah, check that list out because some of those movies that are on that list are actually going to be on this list. But yeah, this is just strictly Studio Ghibli movies. This is not like I'm not including any other anime studios, and I'm not including like TV studios. I'm just including Studio Ghibli, just strictly Studio Ghibli movies. So yeah, this is my top 10 personal favorite Studio Ghibli movies. And as always, before a top 10 list, you gotta have your honorable mentions. And my honorable mentions for Studio Ghibli movies are Porco Rosso, Ponyo, Pompoko, a lot of P's, The Cat Returns, My Neighbor Totoro, The Secret World of Ariete, and The Tale of Princess Kaguya. Yes, the one that came out last year. Great films, just couldn't make the top 10 list. But what did make my top 10 was my number 10, and that is the movie The Whisper of the Heart. Yes, this movie is fantastic. Other than its abrupt ending, I absolutely love everything about this movie. I love the animation. The animation in this movie is just amazing. So colorful and so beautifully detailed. It's so good. I love the story. I know it's kind of like a romantic kind of story. It works though. The romance between these two teenagers is very well done, and I love this mythological story they also tell in this movie. Yes, that's what The Cat Returns is kind of about. It's about this mythological story that's in Whisper of the Heart. But yeah, I love the story that's told in this movie. I love The Cat Returns, but this is just a better movie. This story in general is just a fantastic story. I love these characters. They're very good characters, very likable, very charming characters, and the voice acting is done very, very well. I know Brittany Snow actually does the voice of the lead girl, and I can't stand Brittany Snow, but she actually did a good job in this movie, and a lot of the voice acting was really good. The animation is just amazing. And yeah, again, the ending's a bit abrupt, but other than that, this movie's fantastic. The romance is good, the comedic scenes is good, the animation is amazing, and one of my favorite Studio Ghibli movies. Love Whisper of the Heart. Coming at number 9 is Howl's Moving Castle. Yes, this is a movie, you either love it or you hate it. I know a lot of people actually really hate this movie, Howl's Moving Castle. I don't see why. I love this movie. I love, again, the designs in this movie are really well detailed and really well designed, and it's just so good. Christian Bale does the voice of Howl. He does an awesome job. Billy Crystal does the voice of the talking fire. Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, this movie is just really good. It's a little unpleasant. Like, some of the designs go so detailed and graphic. It's a little unpleasant to watch. You're like, especially that scene, you know, when the Wicked Witch of the Waste is like climbing up the stairs and her skin is like sagging and sweating. Yeah, that scene's kind of gross to watch. But yeah, the story of this movie is basically about a young girl. She kind of has like a thing with Hal. Well, they only met once, but they kind of have like this romantic bond just from the first time they met. But the Wicked Witch of the Waste kind of she's in love with Hal, so basically she curses the main character Sophie, and Sophie turns into an old lady. And yeah, basically she wants to find the Wicked Witch of the West and get this curse away from her. But then she finds Hal in his moving castle, and basically his moving castle is the talking fire who controls the castle, and his little boy, voiced by Josh Hutcherson, works for Hal. And basically she becomes the cleaning lady for Hal's moving castle. Basically they just do their jobs, and basically they're just looking for the Witch of the West to lift this curse from Sophie. And also there's a war going on between like these sorcerers and these humans, and Hal's fighting in it. And yeah, there's a lot of good shit in this movie. There's a lot of subplots that do work for the movie. Yes, some of the animation gets a little too graphic, a little too realistic, but that's what I loved about it. I love the detail this movie brought, and I really like this movie. It's so good. I love the imagination in this movie, and I love the characters. I love Sophie. I love Hal. I forget the frickin' Billy Crystal's character, the talking fire. It's like Alistair or McAllister or whatever. He's awesome. He's good. The Wicked Witch of the Waste is kind of annoying, but she's supposed to be annoying. But yeah, I like these characters. I love the imagination, and I love the attention to detail in this movie. And yeah, this is a good movie. I like Howl's Moving Castle. Coming at number 8 is Castle in the Sky. Yes, this is a great movie for both adults and kids. I always like to say, every Studio Ghibli movie is always good for adults and children. This is a perfect example of that. This movie will be loved by kids and be loved by adults. Actually, it is loved by kids and adults. And yeah, I love this movie. It's a really good movie. It's one of Studio Ghibli's more cartoony kind of movies, but It's awesome. You got like, pirates, you got floating castles, you got princesses that fall from the sky, and diamond necklaces, really cool characters, really cool gunfire scenes, and sword fighting scenes, and all that stuff. This is basically just a straight up adventure chase movie, and it's just a lot of fun. I just love Castle in the Sky because it's a lot of fun. I love the characters too, but it's just a fun Studio Ghibli movie, and honestly, sometimes a good fun movie is good enough for me. Coming in number 7 is From Up on Poppy Hill. Yes, this movie came out in 2013, and again, this movie is brilliant. I love this movie. This movie is basically all about teenagers, and honestly, Studio Ghibli really knows how to write characters well, and especially it really knows how to write teenagers very well. And yeah, this is a very fascinating movie, and basically all this movie is basically these group of teenagers, they're starting their own they're starting their own clubhouse and stuff, and they want to get the school board to agree with it, and basically these girls help these boys start all up and everything. And there's this kind of romance between these two lead characters. One's voiced by Anton Yelchin, the other one's voiced by Christina Hendricks, and basically they have this kind of romance between each other. But then they find out both their families are connected in a way. Are they related? Who knows? I won't dare spoil the ending to this movie, but all I can say, the ending to this movie is so good and so emotional, and I loved it. It was so good. The story of this movie is amazing. This is writing at its best. Hayao Miyazaki did not direct this movie. It was actually Goro Miyazaki, but he still wrote it, and this just screams amazing Miyazaki writing. This movie is fantastic. I loved the characters, loved the animation, and I loved the emotional impact this movie had on me, and yeah, I love it. From Up on Poppy Hill, fantastic movie, one of my favorites. Coming at number 6 is The Wind Rises. Yes, this movie just came out last year with The Tale of Princess Kaguya, and this is a much better film than The Tale of Princess Kaguya. Even though I love The Tale of Princess Kaguya, this movie is brilliant. I loved this movie. This is actually a very bittersweet kind of movie for Hayao Miyazaki, because I heard this is Hayao Miyazaki's final film. It's so sad, but honestly, the guy's getting old, so yeah. This movie was brilliant. I loved this movie. The voice acting, good story, good animation, and Hayao Miyazaki's final film and one of his best films. Love The Wind Rises. Coming number 5 is When Marnie Was There. Yes, I just reviewed this movie, so yeah, go check out my review. I'll leave a link down below for my review of When Marnie Was There. I went into details of When Marnie Was There from the movie. I loved this movie. I hope this makes my top 10 favorite movies of the year, because it was an amazing movie. I loved this movie. I heard this is Studio Ghibli's final film. God, I hope not. But yeah, I'm not going to go into details with this movie. But yeah, so click the link below. I left the link below. Check out my review. And yeah, check that out. Then come back to this top 10 list. I talked all in details about When Marnie Was There. So yeah, check that out. Next list. Coming at number 4 is Grave of the Fireflies. This movie is amazing. This is the most saddest Studio Ghibli movie out of any one of these movies. This movie makes me cry every single time. Actually, just think about it now. It just makes me want to cry. This movie is disturbing. This is not a movie for kids. I didn't watch this movie as a kid. First time I watched this movie, I was 16. Do not show your kids this movie. This movie will freaking have them crying or just scared shitless. This movie is a straight up tragedy. And it's so beautifully told. The atmosphere is amazing. The direction is amazing. The writing is amazing. And the voice acting is top-notch by both the English and Japanese version. And I love this movie. This movie, it just brings tears down my eyes every time I watch this movie. It's just so sad and so heartbreaking what these two main characters go through. And you're like, oh, God. But yeah, the atmosphere is amazing. The music to this movie is amazing, and I'm blown away by this movie every single time I see Grave of the Fireflies. Check this movie out if you've not seen it. You'll be an emotional wreck after you watch it, but it's totally worth it. Grave of the Fireflies, awesome movie. Coming number 3 is Princess Mononoke. Yes, this is the Studio Ghibli movie a lot of people love. This is everyone's favorite movie. I can see why. This is actually my sister's favorite Studio Ghibli movie, and again, I can see why. This movie is an epic. This is the Studio Ghibli movie that feels like an epic. This movie is awesome. It doesn't have an original message, because basically the message is, environment good, don't kill the environment. Yeah, I've seen that message done a bajillion times, but the way this movie executes the story and executes the characters and structuralizes the film, it's brilliant. It's just absolutely brilliant. The animation, top notch. Voice acting, top notch. Like, really, Billy Crudup is awesome as Ashitaka. Ashitaka is an awesome character. One of my favorite anime characters in movies. I did it in top 10 anime characters in TV shows, but one of my favorite anime characters in anime movies. I love Ashitaka, and Billy Crudup did an amazing job voicing the character, and I love Minnie Driver in this movie. I love Claire Danes as Princess Mononoke. I like Billy Bob Thornton as this villain, anti-hero kind of thing. Like, some of the characters in this movie, I love that there's not a distinct villain in this movie. There's just a lot of greedy people. There's no villains in this movie. It's just greedy people. They want what they want, and they're willing to do stupid and horrible things to get what they want. But in the end, it all works out in the end, of course. And I love this movie. The action in this movie is pretty bloody, actually. This is another movie you probably shouldn't show your kids. Like, this is a very violent kind of movie. This is Studio Ghibli's most violent film. This is not for kids. This is mostly for teenagers and adults. Like, yeah, like Grave of the Fireflies, like, if you want to show your kids some Studio Ghibli movies, don't show them Grave of the Fireflies and Princess Mononoke, because, honestly, they're a little too disturbing. And, yeah, this movie does get a little disturbing, but, yeah, it's still a great film. It's an amazingly written and directed film. Hayao Miyazaki did an amazing job with this movie. The action's awesome, the characters are awesome, and the message for this movie may not be original, but still works very well for the film, and yeah, I love Princess Mononoke. Fantastic movie. Coming number 2 is Kiki's Delivery Service. Yes, the simplicity of this movie is what makes this movie absolutely brilliant. This movie is brilliant. I love this movie. The story of this movie is just about a girl named Kiki, and basically she has to travel, and basically when she turns 13, she has to leave the home and basically explore the world as a witch, because she's a witch, and basically she makes her way into a town, and basically gets a job at this bread place, and basically she opens her own, like, little delivery service. That's all she does. Basically, it's about a witch going to a town and delivering baked goods. That's about it. See how simple that is, and you can make that just work and just make it so brilliant? That's just the mind of Miyazaki for you. He can make something so simple, and just so, like, yeah, this may sound boring, like, oh, this movie's just about a girl delivering baked goods. That's not interesting. This movie is interesting, because the writing is just so good, and these characters are just so likable. This movie's like an hour and 50 minutes, but honestly, this movie could have been 2 hours and 50 minutes. I still would have loved it. The animation is just so engaging. The anime story is just so good. The characters are just so likable. I adore this movie. This is a movie I actually did watch as a kid. I actually had the VHS of this movie. Me and my sister adored this movie. I've seen this movie like 50 times. I can't get enough of it. I love Kiki's Delivery Service. This is a Hayao Miyazaki masterpiece. This is a Studio Ghibli masterpiece. Check this movie out if you have not seen it, because it's a freaking amazing movie. Love Kiki's Delivery Service. Awesome movie. My number 1 favorite Studio Ghibli movie is Spirited Away. Yes, as you saw in my top 10 anime movies, this was my number 1. This is an amazing movie. This is the greatest animated movie I've ever watched. This is the greatest Studio Ghibli movie I've ever watched. This is one of my all-time favorite movies. I love Spirited Away. I love this movie. This movie is damn near perfect to me. The atmosphere is perfect. The animation is perfect. These characters are so awesome. I love these characters. I love the story. I love everything about this movie. Every single time I watch this movie, I am blown away by this movie. This is a definition of an animated masterpiece. Hayao Miyazaki wrote and directed this movie. This movie won his Oscar. Well, yeah, no shakes. This movie is incredible. I love all these characters. I love Chihiro. I love Haku. I love Yubaba. I love Geneva. I love Lin. I love all these characters. It's fantastic. These characters are just so enjoyable to watch. And yeah, they're so engaging to watch. And I adore this movie. I love this movie. It's so freaking good. Some of the scenes in this movie are just brilliant. I love the scene on the train when Chihiro's on the train. She's going to see Geneva, and basically there's like no talking. It's just atmosphere. It's just a beautiful score. And it's basically just showing you the world of the spirit world. It's just showing you the world, and it's just so amazing and just so atmospheric, and I'm blown away by it. And of course, the scene when Chihiro first tells Haku who Haku really is. I won't spoil who he is, but basically, I love that scene. It's just such a magical scene, such a beautiful scene. And again, the atmosphere in that scene is just amazing. This is one of the greatest and most atmospheric movies I have watched. I love Spirited Away. This movie is incredible, one of my all-time favorite movies, and my favorite Studio Ghibli movie. Check it out if you have not seen it. So yeah, that was my top 10 personal favorite Studio Ghibli movies. So yeah, please comment below, what is your top 10 favorite Studio Ghibli movies? Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to this channel and join the dark side.